Today, I am joined by someone many of you already know, especially if you follow Battle of Talingchan closely. She's the content creator, but more than just a content creator, she has been part of the game since the early days, watching it grow from a small passion project into one of the most talked about Thai TCGs right now. She's covered gameplay, unboxings, beginner guides, and competitive events. She's seen the highs, the growing pains, the product shortages, and the rule changes. And what makes her perspective so valuable in this is that she didn't start as an influencer, but as a player who simply fell in love with the game. Today, we're going to talk about how Battle of Talingchan changed her life, what the community gets right but also wrong, whether the game is truly built to last, and what needs to happen if Battle of Talingchan wants to grow beyond Thailand. So let's get into it. So for someone that's new or may not know you, how would you introduce yourself when it comes to Battle of Talingchan as far as your role or your involvement when it comes to the game?
Hi, I'm Yo ค่ะ from DAYONE All Games channel on YouTube, and someone may know me as a they call influencer or something, but I would say I just the normal players who can do some content on social media, and I focus on content about Battle of Talingchan card game, or maybe we call BOT card game.
So what was your first exposure to Battle of Talingchan, or what brought you into the game?
3 years ago, my boyfriend Owen, he he have been a huge fan to the YouTube channel that called Pasulo channel on YouTube, and he heard that Pasulo will make his own card game. So we went to try it out, and we just love it.
So is that when it became more of just a game for you as far as your involvement, is you just fell in love with it and then from there you kind of wanted to be more involved with the game?
When we met someone we can call friends, and they even become friends in real life. Yeah, then BOT is not just a card game, it's an activity that we want to do it to play together every day.
Was there ever a moment in the game or being involved with it that you wanted to step away or just didn't feel like the interest was still there?
Actually, yeah, it was. I have to say that DAYONE All Game channels, it first I want to create it to make the content about video game, PC game. So when I came to play Battle of Talingchan, it took me so much free time. So I don't have more time to do the video game content, and my follower is waiting for a new clip. So I feel like very guilty. Yeah, that made me decide that I have to quit to play the BOT card game and then go back to create the video game content or something that my follower wants. But at that time, I went to it's like a card game event, and it had a BOT card game shop to sell merchandise. And I walked in and I see the staff, everyone just greeting me and say like, thank you. Thank you for making the card game content to make people know them more. And I think it feel heartwarming. Yeah. Sorry for our
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I noticed when I first started playing was really the community. And I've mentioned that on other videos about just the community and how welcoming it is
yeah.
and just how, I guess, vested people are into the game and growing the community. So for someone that may just be starting out or that is new, maybe just describe your own struggles when you first started as far as maybe some confusion or what made it hard for you to first start.
Thai language is difficult, even for Thai people. Yeah, we still confused about rules or card abilities, because Thai language, some word can be more more meaning. Yeah, I think that's the same point. I get confused too.
Yeah, I think when I first started the same thing, because there was a lot of new players when I first started playing. And even they were struggling to understand the cards or understand what they were trying to communicate through the cards' meaning, etc. So there was a lot of, I think, confusion for myself, but then also for other players, just because the language is sometimes not so clear. When it comes to Battle of Talingchan, what do you think that it does better than other TCGs?
This question difficult because I don't have much experience in other cards game, but I can say that the one thing I like for Battle of Talingchan is they put some kind of humor or joke into the card's ability that make people get more fun while playing. They can laughing or like they can be happy no matter win or lose. Yeah.
So when it comes to the game itself, is there something about the game that you think may not be recognized as much by the players or maybe undervalued as far as it could be the game or the design?
Some parts of gameplay is quite difficult, especially for new players. Like some layers of ability that sometimes can cancel other abilities or maybe affect the power calculation that even I played for years, I still confused about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for myself, when it comes to this, I think the developers themselves are really invested into the game. And as we saw with, there was that mistake that was made,
Yeah.
and the developers came up with a solution immediately because they realized that it was more harm than good by not having some type of way to address in that moment, very stressful moment, to try to then remember what was played, what not, the sequencing of things, because there is a lot of combinations of things that happen, and sometimes it can become hard. And when you saw 1 week later, they already had it addressed. So they really want the gameplay to be a good experience for the players. So recently, you and I both have recognized this just by being around the community, as there is a lot of more players. And it just seems like every time there's a new release of starter decks, a new wave of the first ones being released, or a new set that comes out, there's always more and more players that are getting involved with the game. And I guess my first question is uh, I think that's shifted a little bit about when I first started to now, where it went from being more, I would say, fun but casual, to being a little bit more competitive now than it was even 6 months ago. So first, do you think that the game can support such a large influx? Because it seems like their availability seems to be scarce. But then also, do you think that the game should focus on being more casual and fun, or should it lean into the competitiveness?
For me, I want them to focus both for casual and competitive because in Battle of Talingchan we have both players. We have both who wants to play as a casual player, who want to be a competitive player, and we now already have like both type of tournament. Like you can play casual at the shop and you can be competitive at a big event.
One thing I did see is shops doing like the starter deck challenge, where it's just everybody had the starter deck and they could just play with just the starter decks alone. So I think that's a kind of interesting way to get people invested in and kind of learn the game, is where everybody's playing the same similar style deck, which was the starter decks. So moving on, do you think that new players are being set up for success, or somewhat, I don't want to say failure, but just a weird experience, because you come to the shops or you play in these tournaments and you have people that have these really fine-tuned decks, but as a new player, do you think that can sometimes hurt that player's experience? And what would you say to maybe encourage them to not get discouraged?
I think everyone start because they feel that this card game is a bit fun, but when they come to the shop, they come to competitive event, they'll get like scared, like everyone so good, every meta deck that they can't beat at all. But I think we don't have to be hurry. For me, the first time I come to play, I have only started deck 2, and then I start to collect a bit more every day, every month. Then one day I will be like the same level for the old player.
Yeah, I think that was similar with my experience where I started with just SD2 and I built from there and just try to fine tune it and get slowly but gradually get more cards and keep on adding different variances to that. And then also my skill got better by learning the matchups and understanding what cards and what worked and testing decks. And I think that was some of the funnest times, at least for me in the game, was just testing the decks out and seeing what worked and what didn't and making adjustments. And then kind of a little bit of the hunt, for those cards where you'd show up and you go to an event or you go to the shop and then you see the card that you're looking for. I think is just an interesting experience for a newer player that people that are already established, they have most of the cards, so they don't have that same new player experience.
Battle of Talingchan player has some weird thing that some people doesn't want to be the winner. Yeah, they just want to make some weird deck and then they get that to the shop, and then no matter win or lose, they're happy.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that
Yeah.
too, where they just come because one is they want the promos, which this game does really good job as providing promos. But then, as you said, they just want to try out the kind of the unusual decks that are way off meta. Like I was telling you about that guy that first started that he had no spells in his
Yeah.
at all. It was just all avatars and no spells, and they all cost 0. And it was just they had their whole deck was just 0 cost avatars.
And sometimes if you're lucky enough, you can beat the meta deck.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just like the first time when I started playing, I had the starter deck and nothing else. And my opponent just drew nothing in their hand the combination didn't work. And I was able to then just somehow, some way win. I mean, it's just the variance is still there, where I think is quite different than, other TCGs where the power level is not so high that you can't win. It's just the consistency part that causes the inconsistency and when it comes to winning. So we already mentioned about there's a large influx of new players that have come in. And I guess when it comes to new players and, you said you want a good experience for them, and we go to these tournaments, you broadcast them, and then I'm also a player and we see a lot of new players. So what it maybe needs to be different so that do they need bigger venues, or from your perspective, what do you think they need to do different when it comes to just, I guess, availability, or do you not really see it as a problem?
I think it's about time because the Battle of the Nation official already know the problem, and I think they will produce more product from now. Yeah, maybe it looked hard to find some Battle of the Nation box to open, right? But as we see at a BT08, at first that the BT08 is coming, it's hard to find, but maybe after that, just 1 month or 2 months, there will be more BT08. And now there are a lot of BT08 in the market. Yeah, I think we just have to wait. I always feel bad when I see new player spend a lot of money to buy a box from what we call reseller. Yeah, because like I said, we don't need to be so hurry to be the meta deck. You can wait maybe just only 1 or 2 months. Then your deck will be same level as the meta. Yeah.
I think that's so true. I've seen that as well. Just
Yeah.
if you just wait, generally one is either that the meta will shift, or like you said, because there's a lot of cards from BT08 that I was trying to get. And instead of just rushing to get them, I decided to wait. And I was able to find almost everything I was looking for, even today, still today. And we're at BT09, and still today I can. Yeah.
Now no one want to buy BT08 anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. I think if you just wait and you just continuously try to improve, you'll eventually be able to have the product available. Like you said, I've seen even today, you can buy BT08
Yeah.
today on Tolaxi. Yeah, you can.
kind of bookshop. And for the some new player is worried about the old card. That's very hard to find. That's two way. Some old card that the developer think is important, they will be reprint in maybe in the future. I can't tell when. And some cards they will be like out the rotation in 1 year. The card we call soy one or year one. Yeah, it will be out of the rotation in the next year. So if you wait to the next year, you will have like the same card with everyone because year one card that you can't find will be like can't be in a competitive event anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at what they're doing with Jake and how
Yeah.
a lot of decks are running that card. What I also like about how they're handling that is if they're going to do a highly sought after, high value card like that, they're making the art alternate art so that people kind of go after the alternate art and make the regular card more available. Yeah.
Even cheaper than the normal Jake right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We will all have Jake in our deck in 3 months. Only 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's only a couple cards that I hope that they do reprint because I think that right now they're just out of control, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So what would you say that this game needs to do if it wants to thrive outside of Thailand and go more international? Or do you think that it should just focus on staying in Thailand?
For me, I want them to focus Thai player first. But I know, I know they want to go to international. So I always say that if they want to go international, they have to build the rules to be stronger.
I'm with you as well. I think that's the biggest piece right there is for me personally, I think if I was them and I was in control, obviously I'm not, but if I was, then I would focus on just making the best game possible here in Thailand.
Yeah.
And when all of the kind of the kinks are out of it, then try to progress further past it. But I think when you have still fine tuning things, it's hard to fine tune things on a larger scale when you try to tackle a bigger, go over bigger hurdles.
Yeah. And I want them to have like a website that everyone can search for cards ability or how to play or how the conflict about the combo they want to play. Yeah. It will be easier to go international if they have something like that.
Yeah, I think the rules that's one of the hardest things is like the availability of the rules and the clarity of the rules. Because I don't know if you've seen this, and I'm sure you have, but it seems like they're always constantly releasing like rule updates, or they're changing the text, or they're clarifying the text, or okay, if I do this, then I do this, then I do this, and I do this, this is the outcome. Because there's so many combos, you can really get confused because the current rules don't always clarify that. So there is some like fine tuning and kinks that need to be out. And I think that really focusing on the community here, growing the game as large as you can here, and then when it's really fine tuned, trying to tackle on a bigger mission. So we've already kind of talked about the community and how it's just more of it's very welcoming. But what would you say that when it comes to the culture, are you personally most proud of?
Do you know something called almost real card? I think there's no such thing like this in other TCGs. In Thai we call เกือบแท้ but I think we can translate in almost real cards. It starts with Battle of Talingchan is always like collabs with Thai artists to create like a secret rare card. Yeah, but a lot of player and a lot of artists want a chance to draw the secret rare card, but they don't have a chance, so they just draw it. They just draw it and then they like give it gave it to friends in communities, but it makes some confused that people think it's a real card, and then even some people try to sell it or buy it. So Battle of Talingchan official think this is a problem. So they create the almost real template for everyone. So anyone can draw a secret rare card for Battle of Talingchan, but they have to put a almost real card sign onto the card, so everyone know that this is a fan art, and we can also trade or give it in the community. And I think this is cool.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I think that they do right that other TCGs should do. Allow the community and local artists and people that are just players of the game to be invested into the actual artwork and design of the cards when it comes to just the art itself. Because with every box, you're going to get one secret rare. So there's quite a few of them. And I think they do that. That's one thing that they do really well is involving local artists and allowing there to be a lot of different artworks that come about within the game.
That's why I love the community collection or CC box, you know, right? That they will have the player to draw the card, the secret rare card in CC box. And then when we saw the secret rare card, that, hey, my friend draw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone is happy for that.
Yeah, the competition is interesting because that's how through the competition,
Yeah.
they are able to then draw for the next. And I think that's a really interesting concept that I've never seen done before. But I think other TCGs should do that, but I don't know how viable or realistic it is, but I think it works for them.
Yeah, you can do it. You can draw it.
I draw stick people, you know? You don't want me drawing a card. It would be just a bunch of lines and all. It would not look very good. So what do you think that the future realistically looks like when it comes to Battle of Talingchan, and how long or short do you think that this game, is it something that you think will last a long time, or do you think that it has a life cycle on it, or what's your take on that?
I'm not sure what Battle of Talingchan in the future look like, but you know, at the first year of Battle of Talingchan, I and my friends always said that this card game wouldn't be last long than maybe 2 years. Yeah, I give them 2 years and then no one plays anymore. And you look now, it's coming to third year already. So yeah, sorry, I said it wrong. You did it great. And I think I wish this card can be like longer than anyone thought, because every time I have a chance to talk with the developers, they still have a lot of idea, a lot to do with Battle of Talingchan card game. Yeah, both good idea or both like some kind of fun idea, and I really want to see it all.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what because it seems like every time there's a new set release, there's new mechanics,
Yeah.
there's new ideas,
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of a dual-edged sword, where on one side of it, it's good because there's always new mechanics constantly being introduced. Some risk that runs with doing that is one is you can run out of ideas. And then two is, we already kind of mentioned how the rules are already kind of need to be ironed out. And because they're not ironed out fully, when you keep introducing new mechanics into the game, it can add to the confusion level instead of making it smoother. I think that they have a really bright future. If one, the more availability, I think we've really hit that home in the sense of that's a frustration for a lot of people. But then I also think that if they can just figure out the balance between keeping the game lighthearted, but then also allowing people to be competitive. And I think that's a huge challenge. And I think all TCGs face that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, some people, they just want to be casual, and that's fine. That's how they enjoy the game, and everybody enjoys the game differently. So I think, how do they find their spot and just kind of level it out from there? So as we kind of wrap things up, what do you hope or want people to remember Battle of Talingchan for?
It's some kind of changing life thing for me, and if I could wish, I want everyone to remember Talingchan to be a happiness activity that we can do, or we can play with friends, with families, maybe with strangers. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all I got. First, I just want to say thank you. And then I just want to allow you to kind of have the floor to say anything that you would like to add, or maybe you just want to just be able to where people can find you.
You can follow me on YouTube, DAYONE All Games. Yeah, we have unboxing content or battle or gameplay guide for Battle of Talingchan new player, and you can ask anything. I will try to find the answer. And for someone who never tried to play Battle of Talingchan, I want you to try sometime. Now we have some cards in English language too, and I hope they will have more English language cards in the future. Yeah.
Yes, that's my hope too, is that they translate more cards into English and allow either or to be used. I think that would be one step, like we talked about going outside of Thailand. I think that's one step because they mentioned it on the NX podcast. One of the hardest things is actually the translations, is actually getting the translations and ironing that out. Because as you said, the Thai language can sometimes be difficult. And then now you're trying to translate it into another language. And then, yeah, so it's definitely.
How do you rate 1 to 10 for the English language card?
I would say it's an 8. And the reason, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, except, and sometimes the English doesn't include all of the, I guess, context, doesn't include all of the triggers or doesn't communicate all of the things that are associated with the card. And I had that happen actually in an event where it was a card I did not know. And I read the card in English, and that what the player was telling me, it did. And then what the English said, it was not matching. And so they then got the Thai card. And as soon as I saw it, I then was like, oh yeah, what he is saying is correct, but the English doesn't include all of the triggers. So it was one of the ones that says not on summon, but it was another effect. So you can play it when you once per turn, where this said once per turn, but then it didn't also say on summon. It was like missing you kind of get both effects. But I think it's good. Overall, outside of that card, I think all the rest of them are just like spot on. They're the translation, and it's easy to read. So easy to read and easy to understand. So yes, selfishly, I probably want the English translation more than other people, but yes, I think the English translation is pretty good. It's just a couple of the triggers maybe need to be ironed. But thank you again. And yeah, I really enjoyed this, and maybe we can do this again sometime. But yes, thank you so much.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Yeah.